Dune.
Dune Part 1.
Dune Part 1. We just watched it.
We did.
It was good.
It's always good. It's good every time. I mean, I said at the end of the movie, it's dope every time.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's dope every time.
It is. Probably my third viewing of it.
Yeah, I think it was my fourth.
And it never fails to amaze. Like the visual style alone is something that draws you and sucks you in and keeps you there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the big reasons for the success of the film, because it, as you said, it draws you in. And with a sci-fi story like this, I think the big success of the film, because it draws a broad audience.
Sure,
You know, nerds like you and me will watch it no matter what, because we like that kind of story.
Oh, indeed.
Other people who might not normally have a leaning towards this kind of a story, I think are drawn in because of some of the beautiful visual style of Denis Villeneuve. I butcher his name every time. I probably said it wrong there. But he's a master at that. You know, I mean, another film that he made that was visually stunning was Blade Runner 2049.
Sure.
I think this is a far better film than Blade Runner 2049, in my opinion. Although no slander to that film, that's a good movie, but this is special.
Yeah, no doubts.
And I'm very happy to see it, because then, you know, when it first came out, I was worried that we may not get the second part if it didn't take. We watched it on Max during the pandemic.
Right.
Movie theaters weren't going on.
And that was a big fear because it was being released on Max at first. And it's one of those things that unless you have the godlike setup that Chuck does at his house,
Hush your butt.
the actual physical movie theater in your house, it doesn't translate as well on just a regular home viewing experience.
This is something that you should see at least once on the big screen.
No doubt, yeah. You need to feel it.
Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
On a very large movie theater screen. If you can see it in IMAX, which I haven't been able to do, all the better. I imagine it'd be even more incredible.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
Because this is epic storytelling, right?
Right.
You know, it's set in the future, 10,176 or whatever it is, 10,179, something like that.
It's in the 10,000s.
Yeah, it's far in the future. So you make the assumption that this is, you know, the human race, although they don't explicitly say that. There's a lot of cultural references in Dune, and that's one of the cool things that we were talking about when we were watching it again this time, is the cultural references in this film. You pick up on, you know, Asian cultural references. You pick up on a lot of, obviously, Middle Eastern cultural references.
Certainly.
You pick up on some Egyptian, which I guess you could go with it and say that's Middle Eastern, but there's a lot of different, and Scottish. The bagpipes, and the Atreides,
House Atreides,
you know,
lands, yeah.
All these different, you know, kind of cultural references, but it's all amalgamated. I mean, this is, all those things are just, you know, Atreides is in all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting, you know, I'd love to know the history, and maybe in the other films, that there is a history of, you know, in the other books, I should say, there's a history of Dune. I don't know.
Well, so as I was doing a little bit of research, apparently in the books, it is clarified, yes, the humans are from Earth.
Okay.
And it's far, far in the future. And 10,000 didn't start until, or the counting didn't start until a few years past that. So we're closer to the year 20,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I did a little bit of a deep dive
that's awesome.
yesterday, but it's, it does center around Earth. So those cultural, references, those cultural influences are going to be there even from back now.
And I love when a science fiction show that's set in our future with humans incorporates that kind of stuff. You know, Battlestar Galactica did that.
Sure.
And, you know, I absolutely love that.
So say we all.
That's something that really adds character. It really adds immersion. It makes you seriously think about, wow, this could be us.
Well, another great example of that would be Firefly.
Yeah.
Where they're speaking English mostly, but Chinese as well, or Mandarin Chinese as well. It's a really cool thing to see in sci-fi.
Absolutely.
Like that could be the continuation. We don't know.
But that's part of what sucks you into Dune. And then you start watching this film, and you know, it really is, it's set against obviously a changeover in who's running Arrakis, and then the Arrakis as you know, a native population that is probably from Earth too.
Fremen,
back in the day,
you would imagine,
right? But they've been settled on Arrakis for whoever knows how long, and they are Arakans. You know, they're from, well, they call it Dune. They're from Dune. They're Fremen, and you know, and you have this conflict of and it hits on so many different tones of things that you could look at politically. I don't really want to get too much into the political stuff, but it does echo in parallel, and you call it allegory for certain political things in the world right now or in the past of the United States.
Well,
there's all of that stuff is there if you really wanted to dive into it. But on top of all of that, with all of that in the background, it's really a story about the creation, the growth of Paul Atreides and his transition from Paul Atreides into the Messiah.
100%.
Essentially, that's really what the first movie's about,
and him coming to terms with that too. I mean, it's which he doesn't willingly.
Well, no, because he's been kind of, his mother is not just his mother and Lady Atreides. She's also the Bene Gesserit.
Right. Yeah, and she's yes, his mother, but also a spiritual guide and kind of grooming to this position.
And
of
we'll
Messiah.
talk about it more when we talk about the second film in another video,
because it goes way deeper.
It goes way deeper in that one. But the Bene Gesserit have been, and they even say it in this film, have been shaping the Imperium for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Through actions below the surface.
Well, and even that name, the Bene Gesserit, it comes from Latin.
Yeah.
And I forget what it means, but it means something.
We'll put it up here.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get it up there. But yeah, so they've been manipulating behind the scenes even to the point where his mother can choose the sex of her baby, and she chose a male and wasn't supposed to.
Well, she was trying to make
the Messiah.
Yeah. So that's why I say that grooming thing. She's really putting all her cards there.
So Paul Atreides was really thrown into a life that he didn't ask for.
Sure.
He didn't create, and he's got to make the best of it. And because of how he was raised and trained, not just by his mother but by his father, he is the person who he is, and he not only accepts his fate, but in the second movie he leans into it.
Oh, it leans in hard. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that. But the really great thing about that whole journey is it's really brought to life really well by Timothée Chalamet.
Oh my God, is he great in this movie?
He is awesome. Man, has he got acting chops.
And you can see too, from the beginning of the film, he actually looks more like, has the countenance of a teenage boy.
Yeah.
And by the end, you can see him becoming a man. And it's 100%. Just through this journey of what he goes through and all that things that he's forced to deal with that come into his path, from his father dying, from, the Hurricanes, coming back and taking over the palace, which makes his father die because they kill him, and dealing with that you have been sent to die by the Emperor to this planet purposefully.
Yes.
And I think part of it is that his father, played by Oscar Isaac, they understood that. Thanos knew that when they got there.
I was going to say, I think Thanos did.
Thanos 100% knew that.
But, James Brolin's character, obviously.
Yeah.
Zip it, Thanos.
We always call him Thanos.
Is Thanos. He understood that. I don't believe that Oscar Isaac's character did at first. I think he was, doing his duty and what have you, but he came around, figured it out real quick.
He did. Yeah, because also, Duncan Idaho didn't necessarily say that from the beginning, that he felt he knew, obviously, after they attacked. He's like, oh, these guys set us up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that was obvious, of course. I mean, in the film, that's what happened. And they go through all that journey, and you see all these tragic things that happen that, he loses. By the end of this movie, he's lost everyone but his mom.
Everyone.
As far as we know.
Yes, but he gains Zendaya and the Fremen.
Yeah, he gains Shani and Stilgar.
Yeah.
But early on, Stilgar, again, part of what the Bene Gesserit has been doing for years on Arrakis, they have been putting into their society, into their custom, that there will be this Messiah, this outworlder who speaks with your voice.
Yes.
Right? Into the cultural fabric, into their religion, which is very, you think about it, it's so underhanded and deceitful.
Oh, God, yes.
Right?
The Bene Gesserit are not exactly forthcoming people.
No, they're like if you took the Jedi and the Sith and put them together.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And they kind of operate like that. Like, man, we're going to do what we think is right.
Yeah, well, they're...
a little good, a little bad.
You had a great parallel for them, the witches.
The Dark Sisters.
The Dark Sisters, yeah, in Star Wars. There they are.
Yeah.
That's them.
They are, kind of. So they put all that together, And so they've been for years building this on this. So as soon as Paul Atreides lands, I mean, the population's already seeing him and going,
and already claiming him to be the Messiah. Yeah.
Right. And even when Stilgar comes and meets his father for the first time, he says, I recognize you.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Right.
And he's kind of like, but even leading up to going there, he's having dreams.
Yeah.
He's dreaming of Shani. And you can see the part near the end of the film where he sees her for the first time and he's like, oh my, that was real.
Yeah, well, and you said it while we were watching it. Could you imagine if you were dreaming about somebody every day for however long, for months, and then there they are in real life?
In the same kind of motion that you saw them in.
Yeah, that would be you out.
That was fucking trippy.
And it does to him, and you see it all because of Timothée Chalamet.
And then that starts, there's a movement in him, a change. There's a revelation. And you can almost like see the growth on screen.
Absolutely.
Of like, okay, this is what I am. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do it.
Well, and not just that, he realizes that, he keeps dreaming about his death, and he thinks he's going to die, and he realizes, well, maybe that's metaphorical.
Well, no, it's Paul Atreides.
Has to die,
but not,
yes.
He's not going to die.
Right.
He's going to transition from Paul Atreides into, the Messiah.
Well, and he really figures it out at that point.
He does. And even leading up to that, he keeps, in the very beginning of the film, he resists, right? And then his mom's like, yeah, you're not ready. And then he starts to use it. She's like, slow down, you're going too fast. And he's kind of like, I got this.
Yeah, I got this.
And he just keeps going. He gets better. He learns so quickly. And he mistakes once, doesn't do it again.
Right.
And you see this transition. And it's interesting because especially in the second movie, and I really hope they make the third movie, and we'll talk more about this in the next video.
Yes.
But in the second movie, you really start to see he's not a hero.
No.
And
Definitely
that's one of the great things about the way it's written, and I'm sure the books are like that too. But the way that the direction was given is, this is the guy you're pulling for.
Right up until you're not.
But you are. You still are the whole time.
Yeah.
Because he's not a villain either.
No, he's not.
So
he's not the hero.
It's very interesting, but this film lays all that groundwork. That's the primary part of this one.
Absolutely. And we said as we were watching it, this is a really great film at building a world.
Yeah.
And lets you know so many things about the world in such a short time, but it may take you a couple of viewings to get all of it.
You don't get it all the first time you watch it.
No, exactly. No. Eventually you do get there though, and I can't wait to see more of the world, frankly.
Me either. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.
And do not forget, you can always check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, and of course, thenerdcard.com. With that, we'll say,
what's on your nerd card?